Hey, we're going to make an app, a very basic app, that's just going to have a couple stars loading up here at the top. They're going to fall down the screen and we're going to catch them. So let's start with a canvas. And one of these things I always like to do is I always like to set the horizontal and vertical layout to center, and that will put everything in the middle. And one other thing, I'm just going to set my background to a dark gray color just so we can see it. Actually, I'm going to set it to, yeah, we'll leave it dark gray. So then we have this canvas. I'm going to set its height to fill apparent and its width to fill apparent, and that will let it take up the whole screen. Boom. And let's set this background to like, can I do like a dark red? Actually, no, let's do like a dark green. Boom. So now I'm going to give myself an image sprite to be the bucket. And these are just pictures I downloaded off the internet. You can find anything you want. And you usually need to play around with the actual sides of it. Let's try something like, I don't know, maybe 60 by like 40. Something like that, maybe. And I'm going to rename it Bucket. I'm going to give myself 3 more image sprites. And you can really put these anywhere you want because we're going to code up getting these to line up itself. And actually, what I'm going to do to make this a bit smarter is I'm just going to set up one. Let's try like 40 by 40. Boom. And if I call this star 1, I can copy and paste it. And look at this. I automatically have them all like so. Boom. So the whole point of this game is the stars are going to fall down the screen. We're going to keep track and we're going to catch them. The fun part of this is we're going to have 2 opportunities to use loops. So let's at the very top, I'm going to grab a horizontal arrangement and I'm going to put 2 buttons in it. I'm going to call this my start button. And I always like to set this up to be kind of green. Say start. Let's bold it, make it big, make it look nice, all of that. And I'm going to make the text. Should I do? Ooh, no, that doesn't help. Leave it there. And this one, I'm going to make this one my stop button. Stop/reset. We'll figure out how we set this up. Make it red. Bold it. Boom. Stop. And then I'm just at the very top. This is going to be score. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this have a background color of white, and then I'm going to also make it say take up the whole screen and go center. And boom. So now we kind of have it set up like this. So the whole point of this game is we're going to move the bucket side to side. The stars are going to fall down, and we're going to catch them and keep track of the score. That's all we're going to do for now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 image sprites, 2 buttons, and a label. I think that's all we're going to need for now. We might add more. So let's go over to blocks. And to start, I just want, when I drag the bucket, I want to move it. Now, we want to move the X to wherever our finger currently is. There's a few ways you can do Y. I've seen people do starting Y. That works decently. But what I think actually works best is if you go in here and you grab bucket.y. Boom. So that will allow you to move your bucket side to side, not up and down. Now, what I want to do is I want to get all these stars lined up. Now, you could go in here and you could look at, where is it? You could look at the X and Y and you could line all these up. But what I actually recommend is I'm just going to grab this one and I'm going to say I like its Y at 5. So what we can do is I can find this initialize block. And what this is going to do is this block is going to be called once, only once when we first load the game up. So what I'm going to do is I'm then going to loop through all my stars. That means we're going to need to use our first list. I'm going to call this star list. Make a list. Boom. So that means for each item in our star list, we're going to do something. So that means we need to put our stars in our list. So I'm going to find star 1. Same thing, star 2. Or you could just copy, paste it, drag it here, star 3. Yeah, so if you just drag it up, it'll give you an extra slot, or you can go in here, drag one in, whatever you prefer. But boom, 1, 2, 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at each star on our list, and we're going to set its position. So we need to get what's called these generic blocks now. And there's two different ways you can get them. You can come down here and grab them just like I did, and you can snap it in. Or if you grab it from right here, you can right click on it, make generic. And that means we'll need to boom, swap it out. So you can either grab it from down here, or like I said, you can right click, make generic. So now, the component is asking, all right, so you're telling me we're going to move an image sprite, but I don't know which one. We're going to say for each item, for each image sprite, for each item, for each star in our list, we're going to set its X to something random. I'm going to randomize its X. And you can go in here and you could say, okay, go from 0 to whatever this number is. But what I think works better is saying canvas width. This will make it so it knows whatever this canvas size is, go there. And the Y, we can just hard code with a 5. Now, what that will do, when you load up the game, all your stars will automatically be lined up somewhere at the top of the screen randomly. That is our first loop. We're going to set up one more loop here in just a moment. So I'm going to say when I click my start button, I want all my stars to start going. So very similar to what we just did. We're going to grab for each. I'm going to go ahead and call this star again. And what we're going to do, all we're going to do is we're going to give them all a heading and a speed. So let's make both of these generic. Generic. Boom. Boom. So the heading, this is going to be a number from 0 to 100. Oh, oops. This is going to be a number from 0 to 100. What do we want to do? We want to do... So that means we want to do... Can I do math? 270? Oops. 270. Don't forget star. Star. And speed, I'm just going to do like 5 for now. I have no idea if this is good or not, but we'll do it. Boom. So now if you push start, all your stars will fall down to the bottom of the screen. And actually, I think, yeah, we'll leave that 5. So now, we need to set up what's going to happen when the stars hit the bucket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find bucket.colliditwith. And if anything hits the bucket, it must be a star. So we're going to have a variable now for score. Every time a star hits the bucket, we're going to add 1 to score. So score equals score plus 1. Now, here's the issue with this. We need to make sure we're also updating our label. This is a very easy step to miss. So we can go boom, score. And a lot of times people will be lazy and they'll just kind of snap this in. But that doesn't look nice. So we're actually going to make this look nice. We're going to use a join block. We're going to put score right there. We're going to go score Boom. Leave this blank because that will put in the number itself. Now, we also need to do something with the star because we don't want the star to just hit the bucket and stay there. So we can actually literally duplicate this block, snap it here, but we don't want to use star. We want to use other. So think about it. If something hit the bucket, there must be some other sprite associated with it. That's how we reference this the sprite and hit the bucket. So we're going to set the other sprites, X and Y, to something random, and then to 5. Boom. Look at that. But what happens if we miss the star? So now, what happens if the star hits the bottom of the screen? So let's set it up this way. We're going to use one of these generic blocks. And we're going to say if any image sprite hits the edge. If any image sprite hits the edge, you might be saying, oh, well, we'll just kind of duplicate this. We'll do this, and we'll set this to component. That's a good thought. That's a good idea. But the problem with that, what happens if the bucket hits the edge? We don't want something to happen if the bucket hits the edge. So we're going to need to use an if statement. And all we have to do in here is we have to say, okay, if the component is not equal to the bucket. There's actually a few different ways we could set this up. I think this is the easiest. If the component is not equal to the bucket, then we want to do something. We want to move it back to the top of the screen. So we probably also want to, just because, we're also going to lose a point. So we're going to set score to itself -1. Don't forget to update our label. Every time you change your score, you need to update the label. So if we catch the star, we get a point, and it goes back to the top of the screen. If we miss the star, we lose a point, it goes back to the top of the screen. Start will start all the stars. They all get lined up and initialized. And let's just do the stop button real quick. And watch how easy this can be. I'm literally going to duplicate this whole thing. Move it over. We don't want to set the heading. Just set the speed to 0. Boom. And we just made a very basic game that will loop forever. Test it out, try it out, hope it works, have some fun with it.